We've all got darknesses within our soul, and part of the job is doing the work so you don't succumb to the fucking darkness.
And I realise I am now technically a sex worker. Death by wank's a fucking grim way to go, man.
Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sorts Your Life Out, the show where I sort your life out. Send your questions in and we will be here with a guest, sometimes not, sorting people's lives out. I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not any type of therapist, which means that you know that I know what I'm talking about. We've got a great guest on the show, right-wing influencer and Zionist comedian, Elliot Steel. Welcome.
Oh man, I knew it was a mistake coming on this. Do you know how much I need reels? Like, this is the thing when you got to make content as a comedian. You come onto things you shouldn't be. Do you know people are going to believe that? Like, I'm in Stone Island, they're going to think that.
Mate, every time you walk into Top Secret Comedy Club, you have the look of a man who's just tweeted something unspeakable, and you know it's going to go viral.
But you can tweet anything now on Twitter. That's the problem with it. That you could go on there. There's accounts that go on and go, the Holocaust didn't happen, and you click on it because it's got 1,000 retweets, and you think, well, 999 of them are going to be people going, this is disgusting. And it's not. It's 1,000 people going, well, yeah, I agree, actually. And then you go, is nobody going to take this down? And they go, oh, no, it's freedom of speech. So I just got off.
Really?
My main thing was getting off Twitter.
Was it?
Yeah, it's great. I don't know what's happening.
Really?
Yeah, I found out about Iran yesterday, and I was like, I've missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
So I just go, oh, okay, well, because it doesn't affect me.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
So
it doesn't. I mean, it might in the future if World War III starts.
But when it gets to that point, I'll start, which I know is a selfish attitude, but I've realised, look, I'm 28 now, so I'm at that point in your 20s where you realise you don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to change the world.
Yeah.
All those thoughts I had that I was going to be like an amazing comedian, goes out there and uses his words to change the way people think. No, I'm going to do 10 minutes on the Late Late Show at Top Secret Comedy Club if I'm lucky. Yeah. And that's my job. Yeah. That's all I'm going to do in life. And so stop looking at things that make you depressed. Yeah. And I know people go, oh, but your silence is violence. But then why isn't my silence on something like left wing, that like trans bathrooms? I never stood in the way of that. Yeah. Where's my credit for getting them to happen? I was silent on the issue. Yeah,
I mean, and if anything, mate, you clapped along. You're like, look, these men should be allowed in women's spaces. I
don't give a fuck. Like, go in there. Why? If a woman wants to come into the toilet and on a night out and hear me have a coke shit, go for it. That's your sure. I don't care. All I care about is what recycling box am I meant to put out this week?
Yeah, getting your country back.
Not even that. I don't just have the. I look at China a little bit now, and I'm like, yeah, do you know, I'd sacrifice some freedom of speech for some stuff.
What would you sacrifice freedom of speech for?
I don't know. I just like the idea of, things working.
Yeah,
things working, because I've got freedom of speech, but all I use my freedom of speech for is to go, fucking train's late. That's it. That's my freedom of speech. So I don't have anything other I care about than that. Yeah. So if the train worked, I wouldn't say anything. This is very much the trains ran on time with Mussolini. We should realise the route I've taken.
But you know what? I've come to the point. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm like, you know what? If the fascists in charge can make southern trains run on time.
Yeah, exactly. And where the trains go might be the problem.
Yeah.
But also, I don't mind like a left-wing government that does freedom of speech if things work. Yeah. So if things work, have your socialist regime that put me in a gulag, but I won't say the things, and I'd be all right in a gulag. What's it, 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, you're young enough.
Gulags are just, people, it's just like CrossFit anyway, isn't it? Sorry, that's a Kevin Bridges bit anyway. I shouldn't be
but you'd come out absolutely shredded as well. You'd have the body that would make a gay man weep.
Yeah, the diet, everything.
Yeah, you look great, mate. You get the cheekbones.
That's what people don't talk about Russia. It's very funny to do this when there's a big picture of Constantine over there. His life was greatly affected by these people. But yeah, people don't talk about, look, Eastern European, Russian women are some of the most attractive in the world.
Do you reckon that's down to the gulag?
I reckon that's down to the gulags. But we've got to explore that. There's part of it to do with that. You know, that's why when's the last time we had forced labour in this country? And that's why we're a fucking ugly race of people. Yeah. That's why we're a grim, depressed people.
You know what? You know, and it's not just women, it's men as well. Well, there wouldn't be fatties if we had the gulags.
No. And if you just had to, you know, if you had to queue for bread.
Yeah.
I think the longer the queue for bread, the more attractive the people of the place.
I think that's fair.
And that's why, you know, when's the last time we had to queue for bread? Maybe you could argue lockdown, but that wasn't really queuing for bread.
No, it wasn't.
That was just, you know, we had to give a few meters of space, which we all abided to for 4 minutes.
I think you've hit the nail on the head here. I think you should go out and do this in some left-wing comedy clubs.
But there aren't any left-wing comedy clubs. The only place I could do this is Comedy Unleashed. Your thing where
what do you mean it's my thing?
It's Comedy Unleashed where you go on and you go, oh, I can't do this anywhere else apart from the other 5 nights a week where I do this everywhere else.
Listen.
But I say to you all you fatties, you want to talk about a fat audience? Comedy Unleashed has a fat, you know, it's just a bunch of white dudes who are just they're chronically online and they're like, you can't say this anywhere else. And then you go there and you go, I mean, I'd said it like everywhere this week, and then they go, like, I haven't done it, and I wouldn't do it the same reason I wouldn't do a left wing. Like there used to be one called Lolitics.
Yeah, I mean, but then he did get done for sexually harassing women.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? But that is always the way with these things. As someone it's like the comedians you see who go, you know, speaking as a feminist and all this stuff, and then you find out they're not allowed to be left alone with a bar staff of like a comedy club, and you go, oh yeah, right, yeah, all right, well that's fair. That's 1-0 Comedy Unleashed then, because nobody's sexually assaulted anyone, which is a low bar for comedy, isn't it?
Is it? Is it? I think I've got a theory. Once comedy goes so left wing, it's just all sex offenders. Once it goes so far to the left.
But that's Russell Brand. Like, not to say that he allegedly, because we're not trying to get sued, even though there's some quite compelling evidence, but that's my opinion. Hard pivot. He's on the right-wing Jesus pivot.
Yeah.
But that's...
But none of his alleged crimes happened when he was on the Jesus pivot.
So you're saying he's been saved by Christ?
Yeah.
But that's the new thing is you commit a load of crimes, and then you go, it's the woke left attacking me for bringing up the fact that I committed these crimes, and then you go, and now I'm a man of God and I'm baptizing people in a river
in my pants,
and everyone goes, didn't you like? Wasn't there like a thing out last year about you raping a lot of people? And then you go, no, that's just woke nonsense. Yeah. And then that's you're out of it. So both sides do it. That's what's annoying at the moment. I think you're in the same thing as me. Is you look at someone who runs a left wing.
The left are pro rape, mate.
That's it. But the right, isn't Andrew Tate like the golden spokesperson again? Allegedly, apart from the fact. Allegedly is a human trafficker. Yeah. Even though he used to have a website that might as well have been called www.howtohumantraffic.com. Yeah. For someone, you know, who keeps bringing up the Matrix is attacking him.
No, they're just trying to silence him, mate.
They're silencing him because he did a load of videos detailing how he commits these crimes.
Listen, he's just Look, he's Che Guevara, but with webcam.
So people are going to start walking around with Andrew Tate on a red.
Yeah, exactly. I find male fans of Andrew Tate, I just find them ridiculous.
See, I train in like jiu-jitsu and stuff, so it's like you get a lot of people who are into him. Yeah. And look, when you chat to them, because the thing that Andrew Tate, I think, has that people I know have acknowledged him. Like I had this with my girlfriend where she was talking about how people, I don't get why I like him. And I showed her a few videos going, he's entertaining.
Of course he is.
He is entertaining. And I showed her and she was like, oh, he's funny. I was like, yeah, that's the problem with entertaining people. That's like when everyone talks about like, how did Jimmy Savile get away with it? You go, because there was an entertainment value to him. Like,
and he raised millions for spinal charities.
That as well. Yeah, which Andrew Tate that's going to be his hard pivot. He's going to help out people with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
But that's his like. Well, but he also did the same thing, like what Russell Brand's done with Jesus. He did with Islam. He went like, "Oh, I'm Muslim now, by the way," and then you go, "Hold on, you drink alcohol
and smoke cigars,
and you like your whole life is I sleep with multiple women who I'm not married to." That's not traditionally Islamic at all.
Yeah.
And then he goes, but
it's fine.
And that's how you get away with it. You just pretend to believe in God now.
Yeah, you do.
There's no way Russell Brand actually believes in God. He doesn't believe that there's an ordained. He spent his entire career being anti-establishment.
Yeah.
I met him twice. Have I told you this?
No. So was it at Diddy's party?
No, I'd have loved to have been at one.
Yeah, were you dressed up in the white tux?
I would have loved to have been. I would have loved to have been at a Diddy party. Before all the I bet up until a certain point, I bet if someone went, "Hey, you staying for later?" And you go, yeah. And then later you go, "Oh, this got a bit rich for me, actually."
yeah. You know what? Now that they brought the kids out, I think it's time to go on.
You walk into a room and go, "Oh, okay. I thought you meant we were going to do a bit of MDMA."
Yeah.
But I met him very briefly once, and then another time at Roast Battles.
Yeah.
Which I was on because of my deep-seated nepotism, despite being left-wing.
You're not left-wing.
I am left-wing.
No, you're not. You're not. I played this game. I played this game.
I believe in socialism.
I know you want to get booked by Top Secret. I know you want to still hang out with your comedy mates. You're not left-wing.
I am left-wing.
Listen, do you think I'm sober? I remember the conversations you have with me when you're drunk.
We all want to stop the boats after 5 pints. We all want to.
Yeah,
But not just those boats. I mean, every boat.
Yeah.
It's a maritime thing over a racial issue. I was the only one out rioting because I care about the environment.
Yeah.
So I'm so left wing. I want to stop every boat.
Exactly.
But no, I met him. I was having a cigarette after Roast Battles, and he walked by, and I did this was the first A-list celebrity I've ever met, which is, and not just met, but done a show with, which is a weird moment in your life if you've grown up watching someone who is super famous, and then you're on a thing with them, which I'm sure you've had that where you kind of sit there and be like. You meet them as a person.
Yeah.
Like you see them eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
You see them doing something that you didn't, it's like if I went, could you imagine 50 Cent hoovering? You go, no, I can't see that.
Yeah.
So I met Russell Brand and he came out and it was just after he'd been on Rogan for the first time. And I went, "Oh, mate, I loved you on Joe Rogan's podcast." And he went, "Elliot, what is amazing is that young men like yourself have come up to me and look, not to brag, but I've been in a multitude of films and things that are very well known, but that's the one that men like yourself recognise me, notice me from." And he went into this tirade where he spoke at me for 5 minutes, but I got what star power was.
Yeah.
In that moment went, I can't do that. I walk into a room and I'm nervous and I'm shy and autistic. He walks into a room and he speaks at everyone and they feel like they're part of something. Yeah. And that's what he had. And that's like this charm that I don't think you can teach that. I think you just have that. So he had that level of charm and that level of skill, which is, of course, part of the reason why allegedly he was so predatory as he was. Like it feeds into that, and now he loves Jesus.
Yeah, and long may it continue. A good man doing his best.
He's just trying.
He's trying, like we all are. We're all human, Elliot.
I'm trying to give up smoking.
Yeah.
He's trying to give up sexual assault. It's a difficult.
Yeah. We're all doing it. He's not. He's a sex addict. Now, we're going to move on to your questions that you're going to ask Elliot. So, all right. Dear Francis, I'm Jewish, but I've started questioning the concept of being the chosen people. It feels elitist and makes me feel uncomfortable in today's world. Am I overthinking it, or is this something I should distance myself from?
I I thought it was more going to be like, went through my girlfriend's phone and found a message, not should I believe in Zionism. All right, no, you shouldn't be Zionist. No, I don't. I think once anyone starts saying they're the chosen people, you should get the fuck out of that before you start going, we're taking this and it's ours. And if anyone argues against it, we're going to not only take this up, we're going to bomb over here as well. And nobody's going to argue against it because we can do that. Like, yeah, I think there's a thing with, especially like Jews at the minute are under, and Zionists are getting pushed into one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a problem. And I like granddad's Jew. I don't have any affinity to being Jewish or whatsoever, but I get anti-Semitism every now and then. So I'm like, I guess that makes me part of something because you like.
I get anti-Semitism,
but you're not. That's just on your look.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that as well.
Yeah.
I had one guy who commented under a video one time where I talked about like being English, and he went, "Look at that big nose," which I understood was a stereotype, and then he went, "And those low-hanging earlobes," and I was like, I didn't even know that one. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, and it was such a like. And then he put oy vey, and I was like, that bit of racism was kind of poetic.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just fuck off kike. It was like a real...
Yeah.
It was like a real bit of like, oh, man, you wrote that out and drafted it for like 5 minutes, and you probably ran that by someone.
Yeah.
Which was
Listen,
but...
When you mix racism and you actually put some phrenology in there, that's when you know that person has gone into, actually really thought about it.
Bringing your AS English level to...
Yeah, yeah. When he starts talking about the shape of the skull and goes, this is it. This is makes you a Jew. Oh, you got to respect that.
But yeah, I think the idea of being a chosen person which is what every religion to an extremist sense has. Christianity has it, Islam has it, Scientology has it, which is a new religion, and Judaism has it, which I think it's how much do you want to believe in that, and how much is the social circle in it around you valuable to your life? Because if you can just put up with it and just everyone's like, we're chosen, and you're like, yeah, sure, but you're like, I don't really give a fuck, and you can block that out, just deal with it. But if you need to distance yourself from crazy, distance yourself from crazy. Like it's an insane thing to think that God has ordained you the chosen people. That's a crazy thing to believe at all. One, because God probably doesn't exist. Two, if he does exist, it's not in a realm that we can contemplate because he's God. Like the whole point of God is that there's this omnipotent divine being, and that you and I have figured out what God is. Well, then he's not that great. I believe in like the thing of, we're the universe experiencing itself, and if there is a God, we're all experiencing it as he would. He's created the universe, so we'd all. But I don't believe that enough to fly a plane into a building. So that's as far as I believe it, or I don't believe it enough to go and invade Jerusalem. Like it's not. If someone went, how much do you believe that? I go like enough to bring it up while I'm on ketamine at a party. So yeah. What do you think? Like,
I don't know. Like, I think the thing with religion is that it gives you a sense of purpose and it gives you many beautiful things. I think the problem isn't actually religion. I think some people are extremists by nature. I think just genetically they're extreme. So you see these people, like, and you see them. There was a perfect example of this. There's so many people like super woke left. Like there is no such thing as women. Everybody can be a woman. Blah 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 blah. And then the next day they're like super right wing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and they just go, well, how about the middle? Do you want to come to the middle? They're like, no. This is it. I'm only ever going to eat meat for the rest of my life. And you're like, look, there's a whole part of the spectrum you're missing, my brother. And they're like, nope, I'm right here now.
Yeah, that's a really good point that they're just extremists by nature. But I also think there's a thing of like you want to belong to a group.
Yeah.
Which is we all want to be loved a certain way. Like ISIS didn't get people in it just by going, we're going to hate everyone. And
Yeah.
like, look, you're going to have a fun time with your mates. And you go,
I mean, are you going to have a fun time and all?
no, but some people are fucking idiots. Some people go to Pontins. Like, some people think, but I'll go to Pontins and have a good holiday. The advert looked good.
Yeah.
And then they go and go, this is shit. You're not far off ISIS.
Yeah.
You're not far like from being convinced by propaganda.
I don't know. I don't think there's any virgins in Pontins, mate. I've been to Pontins. I've been to Butlins.
Yeah.
No, like, you know, it's a good point. We actually interviewed someone from ISIS, and I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, he was in ISIS, and then he became a double agent.
Oh, okay. I thought I was like, that would have been a hell of an episode.
Yeah.
Trigging Syria.
Yeah, just in front of a black curtain.
I love the idea of there being a better help advert coming on part way through. You guys having to do ad reads in front of some guy who's just beheaded the kafar.
Do you feel stressed? Are you upset? Is the modern world getting you down? Then maybe you should join ISIS. But yeah, I just think some people are extremists by nature. It doesn't matter what they do. Like, you see them, you know, like, there's another example. The guy who parties all the way through his 20s, coke, ketamine every night. The moment he hits 35, he's doing that 5 peak challenge thing. And you just go, and then he has to do like ultra marathons and all of this stuff.
Tough mudders and all that shit. Yeah, that's my future.
Do you think you're going to be doing double marathons in the Sudan?
No, I won't go that far, but I've not got like a drink or drug problem, but I drink a lot and like party a lot. I don't really touch drugs too much anymore, but I've got the me v me thing that those losers get, where you're like, I've got to go do a marathon in under 4 hours or something. And you're just like, or, you know, oh yeah, I don't drink anymore. And do you know who's good is the people who like go for a jog every now and then and have a pint every now and then.
Yeah.
Those people have life nailed, but I'm not one of them. So I'm going to be one of those guys who ends up comes on here and starts telling you about how you need to get into keto or the carnivore diet or some shit that you as soon as someone talks to, that's the same thing as what this guy's going through. If you're one of these people who bang on about the carnivore diet, you're speaking like you're ordained by God, like you're a chosen person. It's the same. They're the same person. They just found a different thing. This person found religion. Well, it was being, I guess, pushed into religion and is now at an age where they haven't said, but I guess with everything that's going on in the world, they're a bit like, I don't know if we're doing the right thing. Because there is a lot, like you have to make a clear distinction now from like the Zionists and Jews, which I think is not happening in the news at all. And also, I've seen things or heard of things in comedy clubs, like some people said they were Israeli and the crowd booed, and it's like, right, well, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean they want Palestinian children bombed. Yeah, there's more of a chance than if they had said Zimbabwe. Yeah, but they're probably going to, and they will have a different experience than we have, where, you know, bombs have rained on them and they've had to watch an Iron Dome save their lives. But I think it is a weird time to be calling yourself the chosen people when everyone seems to not agree, you know. And the idea of the goy and things like that, you know, the goys are there to serve us, is such a weird. I think, you know, once you get into ultra-Orthodox Judaism, but again, every religion has their fucking, just stick it out. Maybe you are chosen and you don't want to not get into heaven because you decided to start having a bacon sandwich every now and then.
Bacon's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It is incredible. All right, thanks, Jack. Let's do the next one. Okay. Dear Francis, I've been masturbating to photos of my partner's mum.
This is more what I thought it would be. rather than should I remain Jewish?
I feel disgusted with myself, but I can't stop. It's not like I'd ever act on it, but the fantasies are getting out of hand. Should I tell my partner or bury this forever?
Bro, you shouldn't have wrote into a podcast. You shouldn't be. Look, keep it up, but don't let anyone ever know that you've been doing it. Yeah. It's the shame that's the fun of it, I imagine.
But it's also, as well, it's also ethical. Because most people masturbate to pornography. And pornography, there's a lot of abuse in the system. A lot of people get taken advantage of. Really, this is a victimless crime when you think about it. Because it's just pictures of his partner's mum.
Yeah, but like, where are you getting the pictures from? Are you getting like families are you going around there and going, oh, should we all get a photo? And then whacking off to that. Hey, that feel, but that would add a level of deviancy. Look, as a normal, well-rounded person, what you're doing is awful. But as a deviant, yeah, man, I get it. Like what you're doing, awful. But that's the fun of it. You're right. It is semi-victimless unless anyone ever found out. In which case, there then becomes like a whole heap of victims.
But you know what? Nobody ever talks about this. But like, his partner's mum could have been. I mean, maybe he's found some banging photos of her in the 80s.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, have you ever dated a woman, like a person, and then you see her mum, and you're like, holy fuck.
Oh yeah, like I have that sometimes when you meet someone, and they're like. They'll be in their like 60s or 70s, and you can just tell, like, oh, back in the day, you're still great now, but back in the day, like, you wouldn't have spoke to me.
Yeah.
You're speaking to me now because you're 70.
Yeah.
And you're just offering me some cookies or something nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, I had that. I was doing these gigs in Tenerife, and we went out on like the promoter and stuff, and he had some friends, and they were like, we got chatting to him, and they were like, oh, back in the day, we were like, is it Pin-Up Girls or something? And we went to this bar and they showed us their like posters of them back in the day on the wall. And we were like, my mates were like, fucking hell, like you would have had to have so much money for you to even have noticed us. But now you're like 60, so So this is the best. Chatting to me is the best you can do.
It's just like being a shit football club and you've got the chance to sign Ronaldinho at 39. I'm like,
Palace did that once. We got Edgar Davis and we were very excited. He came on, got a yellow card and got taken off. You're doing that.
You know, I remember we signed this player for West Ham in the 90s. It was well before your time, called Paulo Futre.
Right.
And Futre was Portuguese. And this was early to mid 90s. And he was incredible. Incredible. Like the moment he touched the ball, he was better than every single person on the pitch. He was a striker for AC Milan back in the early 90s when AC Milan were proper.
Yeah.
The only problem was he had one knee. So for 20 minutes he would get the ball and you're like, this is insane, and then he'd collapse in agony and get taken off. But you know that's just it. You know, sometimes the mum is going to be significantly hotter than the daughter.
But my thing is, the fantasies are getting out of hand. Is a worrying line. That's the start of a problem, dude. I've been there with like a thing when you get caught in a thing sexually that's not like let's talk
about it.
Oh fuck no! I was seeing this girl one time, and my thing was she told me about a guy she fucked on Hinge while we were fucking one time, and it made me annoyed, and it worked, and I was like, oh fuck, why have I got to be into this? Like, and then why is like that's I'm like 2 away from cockholding. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm on the path.
Yeah.
And you're on the path to something now, and you either have to keep that to yourself, and that's what it is, or you just have to, I don't know where that path leads, my friends, but that's like if Jeremy Kyle was still a thing, that's the kind of thing that would be on there. You've got to like, in your head go, could this be an episode of Kyle?
Yeah.
You've got to get off it.
That's the thing, is that we've all got darknesses within our soul, and part of the job is doing the work so you don't succumb to the fucking darkness. That is exactly it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you can't. It's like when you start going down a certain... Because you know when you're like in your early 20s and then you find out there was something, you speak to someone in their 40s and they're into some fucking weird thing, and you go, how did that happen? And the reason is because they fucking came boring.
Yeah.
So the next thing happened.
Yeah.
Like they had to keep, you have to sometimes go, that's me.
That's me done.
That's me done. It's like, I want to get to the point where I can go out and have 3 pints, but I have to be the person who does that.
Yeah.
I'd love to be that guy.
Yeah.
And that's, I've got to do the work on myself to do that. You've got to do the work on yourself so you don't fuck your girlfriend's mum. You've got, like, unless your girlfriend's into it.
Yeah. And it's
Don't tell anyone that, dude. Let alone a podcast.
but it's also as well, it's like, you don't want to be that guy that winds up dead with hanging.
Oh, with the orange, like, just by the side.
Yeah.
Your family saying it was suicide because it's less shameful.
Yeah. Yeah, he killed himself. I don't remember Uncle Jeff being suicidal.
Oh man, that would be a fucking. Oh, your family having to come out. Yeah, no, depression just took in quick. People start donating to mental health charities in their name when really they were just kinky.
Yeah, when he was just having a danger one. Yeah, because that's it's better to be dead from suicide than you took your afternoon off too far.
Yeah. Oh man, death by wank's a fucking grim way to go, man. Like it's a hard one for the family. It's a hard one for whoever finds you. It's a hard, like they're trying to open the door for you and just come round and see them on the mess you've made.
Yeah.
And he jumped in front of a train. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. He was devastated that she left him. Hang on, she didn't leave him. He left her for a 19-year-old stripper. What was going?
Oh, dude, your girlfriend finding you, and there's just a photo of her mum.
Yeah.
Next to you as it happened.
No, there's nothing you can say at that point. You've just got to go, look, I'm gonna pack my bags.
Yeah, dude, go get a new hobby. Go get a new sexual hobby.
I think this is a problem with the internet generally.
What, there's too much? There's
too much, and like there are perverted little recesses of all of our souls, and we didn't know we had them until we got exposed to them. And you're like you said, what, I'm into that? Like imagine waking up one day and then realizing you're into feet.
Yeah, the feet one I've never got because I'm not like feet, but I'm not also like with feet's are weird.
It's weird.
It's a weird one. You're on a dark path.
Yeah,
but it's not like. You can't be arrested for it, but you should. It should be like you got to check in on feet people. And have you ever heard them start talking about feet?
Yeah,
they start like salivating. It's terrifying. Yeah, foot people. Yeah, feet people are a fucking weird breed.
They are. I had a mate. He was a comedian actually. He was really into feet. I remember telling me he loved sucking toes.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh, man. And I'm going to be honest with you, from that point on, I wouldn't have trusted him around children.
Yeah, I one time some guy offered me a pair of shoes to send him a picture of my feet.
Really?
Yeah, I did it. And I was like, oh, you can have them. I had loads of photos of me at jiu-jitsu. Like, here you go. And got like a pair of 200 quid trainers.
What trainers did you get?
I got a pair of Jordan 1s. Yeah, it was decent, actually. Yeah, they were really nice. But then I realised I am now technically a sex worker. I've done sex work, and then I did think like, oh, there is someone jerking off. The funny thing is, one time he sent me like 50 quid because I put up a picture of my feet on like when I put up a picture of me at jiu-jitsu, he was like, oh, can I have one? I was like, fucking have it, man. Like, and he sent me like 50 quid, but he'd his name on Twitter or something was like the boy must obey or something.
Yeah.
And then when he sent me the money, I could see his actual name. I remember like looking him up, and he had like a LinkedIn and stuff, and I thought, it'd be so funny to click on it. But LinkedIn shows you who's viewed it.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, he'll then have the panic of his life.
Yeah.
I found his work and like.
I bet he was just a normal guy, wasn't he? No, probably not.
Oh no, I think he had that facade. He had that like, but that's what I think must be the fun about it. Like, like there'll be some dude who's married, kids, and the way he gets off is like once a month he goes, sucks off some guy in a lay-by, and then goes back to the family. And that must be part of the thrill. Like there's something to lose.
Yeah.
Like can you imagine the thrill people have having an affair?
Oh, absolutely.
We could be caught.
Yeah.
Like that must be part of the fun. That's why when they get together, it doesn't work out. It loses the excitement.
It's like dogging.
Have you been dogging?
No, I've never been dogging. I can't drive, mate.
That's the only thing holding you back. You've got a cycle to dogging.
Sorry, mate, you can't take part.
Getting an Uber to the dogging site.
Why are you getting dropped off in the middle of the woods? Don't worry about it, mate. It's all right. Anyway, so next one, please, Jack. Dear Francis, I've really developed a deep existential dread. Every time I think about the universe and how insignificant we are, I spiral into a panic attack. I can't talk to anyone about it without sounding like a nutter. How do I cope with this?
Oh, man, I could have sent that in. Yeah.
I would have said the previous one was more.
These sound like they're all from me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Jewish.
Yeah.
I can't stop wanking over my girlfriend's mum and I'm having existential dread.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Find a group of people who you can talk to this about, but you are then going to become a conspiracy theorist, bro. Like that's, and that's fine, but you are going to bore. I mean, if you're having panic attacks, you should probably get therapy or something, man. Do something to not have panic attacks because that's going to fuck up your day. But, you're just, I wonder how old this person is who sent this in, because if you're in your early 20s, that's part of coming older, is you go through this thing of going, oh my God, we're so insignificant, I don't matter anymore. And then you come fine with that. If you're having that in your 40s, bro, you should have had that 20 years ago. If the hopes only just died, what a great few years you had having hope. The hope goes, or like hope just changes. It doesn't go, it comes a different thing. I used to think I was going to drive a Lamborghini and live in a mansion. Now I'd like a car. That's it. That's what happens. It just becomes a different thing. I just, I used to hope that I was going to marry Dua Lipa. Now it's just like, well, I hope my girlfriend doesn't fuck someone else if she goes to Spain on a holiday, girls' holiday. It just, that's what hope comes. It just changes a different thing. It changes. And that's part of life.
Yeah, it is. It is. You just become more realistic. I think what you're talking about actually is a fear of death here. About the universe, how insignificant we are. And, it's just kind of, I think actually the fact that you are insignificant is kind of beautiful because it means that it doesn't matter. And then you can live the life that you want to live.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like that is the point of it all, is you do kind of go, oh, we don't matter, but there is matter within that. And I think you're right. This is a fear of death. Like, it's like the Christopher Hitchens thing that quite resonated with me was when he was like, oh, the party goes on without you.
Yeah.
Like you die. And then everyone else cracks up. Like, I always think that, I remember when I used to bunk off school, and I used to just sort of walk around, the thing that amazed me was like the world going on outside of school when school was my world.
Yeah.
And you just see people going to work and people hanging around and, people getting lunch. And you go, oh, this is all going on while I'm in maths. And I guess that's kind of like on the same level as like death. Like you'll die. And that day, that cafe you used to go get a coffee from, the same people are just in there, just getting on with what they're getting on with. And it doesn't matter. But that's part. You're right. That's part of it. That's the fun of being conscious.
Yeah, and I think it's ultimately freeing because then you realise that you do not matter as much as you thought you did, and that means that you're free. You can go and do what you want. You can go and become a comedian. You can go and chase your dreams. You can go and wank over pictures of your girlfriend's mum, whatever it is. There
is like financial restraints. Like, I do like when people are like, yeah, you're free to do what you want within the financial like realms of capitalism. Like you've still got you're not truly free.
But you know what? I think that's great. I think like genuinely, like if people were truly free, just imagine you truly had limitless money. What you would end up being and doing?
Oh, I'd be evil, man. I'd be an evil, but I don't know. I'd be dead.
You would be dead.
I couldn't. I think there's like a level, people I know who are rich, if they've had a slow incline to being rich, they're very sound.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend who's like very well off through comedy, but first got his money quite early on, had the few years of like fucking about, and then was like, I should probably like get a property.
Yeah.
I should probably like chill the fuck out and like I don't need to drive a sports car. I'll just get a car. I'll just do something, and then their thing is like, oh, I can buy dinner for my friends. That's nice. But then I think if you go from like having no money to suddenly you're wealthy, that's when the problem arises. That's when you're not used to having the thing.
I think also as well, it depends when you get it. Like if you start getting money and you're in your 50s and you behave like a prick, you're like, come on, mate.
Oh yeah, that means it was always in you.
Yeah, you just like, come on, man. Like, but you know what? This is why I don't blame footballers for being pricks. Imagine earning 80 grand a week when you're 19.
Oh man, like as well. But I know a couple of. I've met a few of them.
Yeah,
they're not pricks. They're really boring because they're disciplined.
Really?
Yeah, they're not. That like, think of the people in your school who did PE.
Yeah.
None of them make it in football. Now think of the ones who did. They're more disciplined than those people, and then they can't go out and drink. They're not like anymore.
Yeah.
Like, back in the noughties, they could. They can't really do drugs or anything, so they just kind of like have this money, and then there's like enough. I think like with football clubs, there's enough like. Because they've got so much money, there's enough financial advisors around them to be like, hey, don't buy 5 Bentleys, buy a property. Like Didier Drogba owns like loads in Wandsworth, owns loads of like high-rise flats.
Does he?
Yeah, he's on like the board of this company that like, he put people's rent up during COVID.
Good man. I love a capitalist.
It wasn't enough, was it, did it?
You know what I love about that? Like, he came from poverty, I imagine, in Africa. No, go fuck yourself. I made it.
That was a proper fuck these white people.
Yeah. Good on him. Fucking good on him. I stand with Didier. Hashtag.
Just to like people losing their jobs. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, well, I need more money.
Why not? Why not? You know, I take your point. Apart from, and the pushback will come, is Brazilian footballers who don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah, no, they're all lunatics.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to get sent off because I want to go to Carnival.
Yeah, South American footballers are a different breed.
Yeah.
We've got one at our club called Crystal Palace called Munoz at the moment. And like I heard from people in the club, like, they're like, yeah, he's a lovely fella, fucking nutter. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's, I think he's Colombian.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like, we have to factor in he's going to get some red cards this season just because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of that. I had every Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach I've ever met has been the funniest. They're like Australians.
Yeah.
They don't realise why they're funny.
Yeah.
So it makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Who will just start saying the most mental fucking thing during like, and there's a kids class happening on the next mat.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and they're a very free people in that sense.
Absolutely. Have you ever dated a Latin American woman?
Of course not. God, I couldn't do that.
You've never had someone, you never had a woman throw something at you?
No.
Oh, you're missing out. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible, mate. It's the best. It's the best. I'd recommend it.
No, I've never dated a Latina like, but I don't think I could handle that.
Well, a guy used to work at this company. Really nice guy. He was he was telling me that he spent his gap year in Peru, and he was talking to this girl in the nightclub, and she turned around, she slapped him round the face and called him perro, which means a dog. And he said it's the sexiest thing anybody's ever done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
What a country.
Yeah. And the look of rapture he had on his face. You're not going to get that, are you?
Yeah.
You're not going to get that in Croydon.
No, you're just going to get mugged.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Next. So, dear Francis, my family believes in astrology and refuses to make any major life decisions without consulting their horoscopes. I think it's absolute bollocks, but they won't listen to reason. How do I get them to take control of their lives without offending them?
You're not going to. Dude, you got to move. You can't try to control people. Everyone's got their crazy. I used to have a girlfriend who believed in horoscope or astrology, but she didn't because she knew it was mental, but she did. You know,
Yeah.
like most people, like, you know, it's like when someone believes in ghosts and they go, you know, I think there's something. But, yeah, man, you can't control your family. You've just got to let them believe in their horoscopes. And if that's affecting your life, you just got to step away. And when they're like, hey, why aren't you coming around? You got to be like, yeah, I can't deal with your horoscope stuff and I love you, but I can't come round. And then you're like, oh, we're not allowed to go, you know, if I come round, like, I want to put the football on. And they're like, oh, we're not allowed to do that today because Mercury's in retrograde and it means that Nan's going to die. You go, well, yeah, you see, that's just hard on me. So just let your family have their crazy thing. Everyone's got their crazy. Some people are flat earthers. Some people are astrologists. People do this with football. Like people do this with football. I know I have friends who let football ruin their week. And I used to do it, but I don't anymore because I've realized how pointless it is. And it's fun because it's pointless, but it's pointless. But I know people who cried after England lost to Spain in a final. That we were always going to lose.
Not
Like,
if we played Cole Palmer from the
not
start.
if we played. There was nobody that would have bet. That would have been a travesty if we won that tournament, which is what would have made it funny.
Yeah.
But we were by far the worst team to watch.
Yeah.
At any level. But yeah, man, just let your family have their fucking crazy. Bro, it's better this than they were fucking devoutly Catholic.
Yeah.
Like it could have been worse.
It is true. I do agree. You've got to let people do the crazy. Do their crazy. What's your crazy?
Oh, stand up.
Really?
Yeah, stand up. Stand up's a stupid fucking thing to give a shit about.
Oh yeah, if I have a bad gig, it ruins my fucking.
Bad gig ruins your night.
Do you know what? You know what? A bad gig doesn't ruin my night. You know what absolutely ruins me is when I write new material and it doesn't go well. I feel utterly bereft.
Oh, if you spend a lot of time on it as well.
Yeah.
If you sat in a cafe all day and you go to a gig and you do it and it just bombs and then you go, I really thought. Because when you're writing, you go, my God, I'm the best who's there's ever been. And then you go do it and it bombs. Or you get this at Top Secret sometimes on the new material night. You'll go on to do new after someone's just gone on and done a tight, like their best 10 for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
They've just turned up to do 10 minutes at a club to feel good about themselves. And you go,
I mean, I've never done that.
I've done it as well.
Crushing new material night.
Yeah. Just walk on, do a great 10 and then fuck off. And someone's going on with notes. Like, why did you do that? Like, there was, but also, like, I think that I've started doing now is I stop giving a shit and stand up if people get things over me. Like, you just look at it, you go, it's out of my control. It doesn't matter. You know, they're doing that. That's fine. I'm doing this. It is what it is. Like, you know, these things happen, and that stand up is my crazy. And again, I was indoctrinated into it. My dad's a stand up. Like, people think nepotism is a good thing. Like, isn't it? I wish it was a lawyer. I could have gone into that, and no one would have given a shit.
You know, mine is like, I'm dementedly ambitious to the point where it fucking ruins everything.
Yeah.
Like, just ruins everything.
You don't enjoy success at all, do you?
No.
No, you like, every time I see you, you're like, it's going well. I'm like, I've never seen someone like do well and have such a bad time.
Yeah. I was with my therapist and she was going to me, she was like, do you enjoy this, Francis? I'm like, no, I enjoy no part of this. I don't enjoy, and like, if something goes well, I'm like, oh, that's all right. If it goes to shit, I'm like, fucking knew it.
Right, yeah. Like, even like, because I like, as I said, like, you know, I love Rogan's podcast. Yeah. Like, when I saw you on it, I had like a thing of like, fucking, that's cool. Someone I started out with did Rogan. And I spoke to you about it, and you were like, yeah, don't know if we'll be back. like, dude, like, you've done it several times. They're like, yeah. But like, that must have been like a cool moment to be on that. To go, we're on this.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. It was a really cool moment. It was just, you know what it is? It's because the dream is always better than reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all it just is. So like, you know, you do a big gig. Like the first time you played the store and you must have been like, oh, that was amazing. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, I think I feel slightly empty.
Oh, no, I agree with you on that. Whereas now when I do, like, I always wanted to get in the Comedy Store. Like, because when I first started, I think it was the same thing you had. I'm sorry to make this a comedy subject.
Yeah.
When we first started, if you got the store, you got everywhere else.
Yeah.
So you got the store, you got to do weekends in London, weekends in Manchester, got to go to Dubai.
Yeah.
Then every other comedy club had to accept you because you played the store, which was how it worked sort of 10 years ago. So I remember I was about 3 years in trying to get in there, and I would walk by sometimes, look at the lineup and be like, man, imagine being on there one day.
Yeah.
And now, like, I do the store and I just turn up. And like, I do still have this moment where, like, I think it's the best designed room in the country. I think it's got all this heritage where I am on stage and I go, this is cool. But now I do sometimes go, fucking tube's going to be a nightmare. Like, you get in. But I think that's part of the dream, is you have to learn that. Part of the fun is you, on the way to things, you'll be inconvenienced by things, and that's part of the fun of it. You have to sort of focus as it like that. Like, I bet people going on the way to do so. I bet Ramesh Ranganathan on the way to do like his 4th night at the Apollo goes, oh, the fucking traffic here always. Like, why do we leave at this time?
Yeah.
Instead of like, I'm doing the fucking Apollo. But that's part of the fun of it, I think. Is getting to a point where it means nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like you know, you talk to people about these huge things, and you'd be like, "Isn't that amazing?" And they look at you and they go, "Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right." It's that Jim Carrey. Have you ever seen? It's a really famous speech. It's on YouTube. I really recommend you watch it. It's Jim Carrey talking to a bunch of graduating students, and he says the words, "I hope all your dreams come true, just so you understand that it won't make you happy."
Yeah, I get what, but to have like the drive that Jim Carrey has to come from a place of devout unhappiness.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was chatting to a comic friend of mine about this, about people who just go, oh, I get to do 3-4 gigs a week. I live just outside of Coventry.
Yeah.
I've got my family. I get to pick the kids up, take them to school, and then Friday and Saturday, I drive to the comedy clubs, I do the gigs, and what an amazing life I have.
Yeah.
And what, like, to have that level of happiness.
Yeah.
Where if that happened to me, I would shoot myself in front of my family for ruining everything.
Yeah.
For ruining what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also think actually the point is to get to a point where that's like the happiness instead of like, I need to sell more tickets. I need to, and then everyone who ever never put me on these should apologise as well. They all need to see how wrong they were. And then have you ever had that thing where you get somewhere and you go like, yeah, they'll be sorry. And then someone's just happy for you and you go, oh, you've ruined the moment.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
You've ruined the moment. I had that. There was a kid I didn't get on with in school.
Yeah.
And he was moaning at me for not doing work. And then he went on to became like a doctor and stuff. And I was doing a show in the middle of Wales, nowhere. And he was the doctor of that town and came to the show and afterwards was so nice.
Yeah.
And I'd always had this dream of he came to a thing one day and I'd be like, yeah, fuck you. And then I was like, yeah, man, do you want to get a pint? And then he said no. Like, he just went home and I was like, motherfucker, he fucking did me again.
But you know, and you know the worst part of it? He doesn't even realise he did you.
No, I know. I was just there and he just went back with his girlfriend and now has a nice life probably.
Yeah.
And I'm still on a fucking mega bus going to somewhere.
And you're like, yeah, I'm going to fucking beat him.
One day he's going to come to another show and I'm not going to get a pint with him and he'll see us.
Yeah, and all he's thinking is, I would have loved to actually, but the babysitter.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to be back. But anyway, Elliot, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for
having me, and this was a lot of fun.
It was. It is. It was a lot of fun. Before we go, plug your socials, plug what you're doing.
I don't want any of your horrific fans.
What are you talking about, mate?
I don't need any more Union Jacks in my comments.
Mate, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. I've seen your fans on Instagram. Yeah.
I get MMA fighters and get heads. No, I'm at Elliot Steel on Instagram. I'm at Elliot Steel on Twitter. I'll return to Twitter at some point.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Follow me on all the socials, Francis J. Foster. Make sure to email in francisfosterpod at triggerpod.co.uk. francisfosterpod at triggerpod.co.uk. Remember to like, subscribe if you're on Spotify. Give it a nice review. If you didn't like it, shut your fucking mouth. And YouTube, like and subscribe. Take care. See you soon.